with these two men, two powerhouse that prove the surfing yesterday in testing condition with Ramzi Boukhiam coming from Morocco and Bisso from France, and the good island of tropical France in the West Indies, Guadeloupe.
Yeah, banger of a heat, this one. Cannot wait to see how this goes down. Two surfers with a ton of power. Ramzi is sort of deceptively massive, isn't he? And you see him up close. He's a big, big unit. Bisso's solid too, about a foot shorter.
Yeah.
Tell you what, they've got all sorts of power. Straight into business is Ramzi Boukhiam, and he's able to tuck that back knee in, just make his stance narrow. And by doing that, he can wiggle the board. He'll do that to some effect for a small number. I just had to correct myself. I think I've been announcing Yolanda Hopkins as the winner in Lacanau. It's not quite correct. Kika Veselko, her compatriot, won in Lacanau. Yolanda, of course, won in a place very close to my heart in Newquay. In the meantime, let's go down and hear from Caro.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Yolanda from Portugal, the winner of the second semi-final. She's all smiles. She got her ticket to the final. Conditions are a bit slow, a bit tricky out there, but you kept busy. You took many waves and you scored some pretty good ones that take you to the final. Can you talk to us about this?
I mean, I just tried to have a quick start and just have a good choice in waves. It's really tricky. It's really hard to see the good ones. And I try to give a little bit of everything for whatever the judges wanted to see. And then at the end, I just had to play a bit with priority and be on top of Tessa. I know she's a good competitor, so I had to be alert and just be on my A game with her.
Cool. And while you were surfing, I noticed there were a few fans out there from Portugal holding the flags on the phone. How does it feel to have some fans here in France and Anglet?
Oh, it's so amazing. I mean, I do always have a few competitors with me from Portugal, and even from other countries always supporting me. But yeah, it's amazing. Just the support in general about everybody. The people on the beach have been incredible, just coming even early in the morning, coming watching us. Now, like grovel surf. So, I mean, it's amazing support.
Well, congratulations again, Yolanda, and we'll see you in the final.
Thank you. I hope so for the final, for the winner too.
Yeah, me too.
Great job, Yolanda Hopkins, taking on Ariane Ochoa. Can't wait for that matchup, the women's final. That's coming up in around about an hour's time. Let's get caught up in this one. Check out some replays. Boukhiam.
Yeah, Boukhiam opening his account, just great surfing. Did, really well to surf that tiny wave. I'm surprised, Paul, by how fast the conditions are deteriorating and how these guys are able to adapt. They were surfing a 4-5 footer yesterday, just showing some great surfing. And Team Bisso, first nice turn, also like powering, and just little mistake there, Paul. Just it shows in the scoring with a 2.67 for the first wave of Team Bisso, and Ramzi got a 5.17 on that free turn combo.
Yeah, already numbers in for these two. We know they've got a lot more where this came from. Let's check out Tim.
Yeah, Tim got a second wave during the interview, just overpowering on that first turn. You saw that foot slip, but managed to hold on and get a second turn. Just really pushing hard, then foot slip, puts a smile on his face. That's what it was funny. Just, he's a good character, always a positive vibe, and both surfers are choosing to stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely the right approach. Definitely, they'll have had a bit of time to watch conditions during the women's semis and realising this isn't the CT heat. We sit there and play priority chess. This is catch waves, tear them apart. That's what they've been doing so far. Already starting off with a few sparks, plenty of spray, water being displaced, and juicing the speed out of conditions as well. And expect plenty more of that. Here goes Ramzi down the line. Just to bring that back foot forward, just to kind of pump that board, and then he saw the wave just disappear away from him. And so priority with Bisso now, and he lost the back foot on one turn. He slipped off on a previous one. Let's see now he can make this opportunity pay in terms of the priority and put someone on the board to come back at Ramzi. At the moment, plenty of time left to go, but already shaping up for a nice aggressive heat.
Yeah, yesterday they had to match the power of the swell. Today they have to create their own space on the wave, their own rhythm, and just use their energy. That's what Yolanda Hopkins did. Just as soon as you stand on the feet, you know, there's the energy, there's the aggressiveness, and that paid off. And these two guys are on the same kind of rhythm, so it'll be an interesting matchup. Maybe Team Bisso needs to slow down a bit on this overpowering, but I mean, plenty of time. That's why we also with 30 minutes heat to give plenty of opportunity to the surfers.
Yeah, you think about the upper body and the way they kind of wind into these turns. And with that ultra lightweight equipment, the board's really sensitive and alive, and they're able to just get so much whip through turns. You just kind of think, how are you actually doing that? Like, there's not a load there in terms of the wave, but he manages to get the full projection through the turn. Very impressive to see. Tim doing quite a bit of paddling, just positioning himself against this rip, trying to stay pretty close to the apex of our bank, which isn't really a symmetrical one. He saw a quick left from Test at the end of that heat. The left just kind of runs out of juice almost straight away. The right-hander, if you can, find the ones that run down. Always interesting to see when our mug shots always tend to take them when the surface are about 14.
But, interestingly, when Ramzi was 14, he was tall and thin. Now, he looks more like a rugby player. He's big, and as you said, Paul, it's pretty amazing to see him on such a small wave, such, you know, powerful surfing and efficient. You know, it seems really light, and he's probably 90 kilos.
Nice combo there.
Yeah.
Couple of quick hits, nice and snappy and sharp. And the judges can tend to favour the combos. Let's see again at him on the backhand.
Yeah, and finishing strong vertical surfing. He's happy with himself. You can tell from the body language on that last turn. He managed to really put that board on the lip. He got a 5.17 on a similar wave, so it's building slowly. It's gonna be hard to get some 8s and 9s today, unless it's a set wave. And as we were saying, the swell has just disappeared. You know, we had like 2-3 footers this morning, and now we're down to 1 to 2. So they need to adapt. Equipment will play a big role. And we were saying earlier this morning in the little morning show, Ramzi is on the epoxy board. So it's just that little equipment difference that could make a big difference at the end of the day.
Yeah, Ramzi able to get that wave under the priority of Tim Bisso and making it count, putting a good number up there.
Yeah, he came at 4.97, so could be a keeper. It's still early days in this heat, 90 minutes remaining. Team Bisso with priority, hoping that swell will pump some more lines.
Yeah, interesting on the drone view there. You saw how close together. It's almost, they got a little bit of this residual ground swell, and then we basically got the wind swell from the onshore, which blows down the coast. The northwest kind of sea breeze that's putting these little lumps through the wave. I feel like it's been quite a windy summer, Arch.
Windy and pretty flat summer. I mean, we probably had like 2 decent swells since the mid of June, so it's been a really slow summer. So the local surfer are a bit frustrated
and hot,
and hottest ever. I mean, we were mentioning the 24 in the water will end of August, and by the look of the forecast, it's more small surf on the way with board short like condition for at least another 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been a long summer, if I can say that. And the man, Johan Duru, no stranger to the beach break of Anglet. He lives north across the Adour River on. He's been on tour for a while. Similar haircut than yours, Paul, for Johan. See if that brings him luck.
Bisso out the back. Being patient now. He's got a couple of twos. He doesn't want them. He wants fives or better. That's what he's going to need. Boukhiam. He's got 10.14 on the board already. So definitely with the advantage in terms of the points. And able now to just surf and try and pick off some opportunities. Sit a little bit away from Tim. He's got his work ahead of him. And it's sort of crucial, really, what happens in the next sort of 5 minutes or so. It seems to sort of set the tone. If you're chasing a number and you can kind of turn the heat around the midway point, from what we've seen so far, the surfers who are chasing, the back half of the heat goes really quick.
Yeah, exactly. And those both surfers are doing well also on the Challenger series. So being in Anglet is important. You know, get those points on the WQS, but definitely Ramzi with a good result on the Challenger, and Team Bisso also doing well, I think, in Balito. They're gonna have like, you know, so a lot of these guys coming to the QS earlier on this year or here are more in the training mode. They're getting ready for the big date in Portugal.
Yeah, Bisso 28th on the Challenger Series. He got a 9th, as you mentioned, in Balito, just north of Durban in South Africa, beginning of July. Ramzi, 6th on the Challenger Series. Right now, that's a position that put him on the Championship Tour for 2023. And he got a 5th in the Gold Coast back in April. Got a 9th in Huntington Beach, the Vans US Open. So a couple of keeper results for Ramzi. Sees him inside the top 10 in 6th. And unfortunately, having lost Quick and Roxy Pro Francis from our Challenger Series schedule, bummer for the fans. However, if you're a surfer in the top 10, that means numerically fewer opportunities for surfers to overtake you.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have like Portugal in a few weeks' time, then Brazil, and then the last Challenger Series in Sunset. So knowing the powering surfing he's been showing Ramzi and also Tim, it's kind of location that could favor you know, their surfing. So cross fingers for some Euros or Moroccan to reach the top. It'll be good to have a bit of a mix between the Brazilian, Australian and Hawaiians, get some European blood up there.
All right, 2017 champion here in Anglet, Ramzi Boukhiam in the ascendancy in this one. Has he got 1 foot in the final? Can Tim Bisso come back at him? He's got just over 14.5 minutes to do that. Find out if he can right after the break.
Rip curl. Allez, Thuram, ça arrive, ça arrive. Allez, champion, lève-toi, pousse, 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 pousse.
Yes, that time again. Leveling up, doing my thing. Yes, that time again. Defending the title, king of the ring. It's that time again. Don't wanna win, I'm cutting you off, cause it's that time again. Yeah, it's that time again. Yeah, it's that time again. Leveling up, doing my thing. Yes, that time again. Defending the title, king of the ring. It's that time again.
The beach goes out to Louisville. The scene has erupted at Lower Trestles.
Welcome back to our first men's semi-final. Ramzi Boukhiam of Morocco spent part of his youth, growing up right here in Anglet as well, knows a lot about this wave. Taking on Tim Bisso from Guadeloupe, and at the moment, it's Ramzi with a bit of a lead in this one, but Bisso has come back at him during the break. Let's get caught up, because this is an important wave, the 417 for Tim.
Yeah, tiny wave, but really well surfed. You know, he's going to get a 4.17, so just under what Ramzi got as he's sitting on the 4.97 and a 4.17, but that keeps the door open for Tim Bisso with 12 minutes remaining. He now needs the 5.97, which is obtainable, but it's going to have to be picky with the wave, and he can't really do that right now because it's this man who's got priority and using it, Paul.
Boukhiam up and swinging. Good first hit, gathers himself, and then just squeezes off the rail. Not much more on offer down the line. He'll flick off. Tim Bisso getting a 4 there on basically a waist-high wave. It just, all of that score really came from him rather than the wave.
Exactly, just creating his own energy, just, you know, the wave, he could have done that on even a smaller wave because he's using his thigh, he's using his, you know, the core of his body to produce their energy and try to release those, you know, maneuver at the top of that tiny wave. It's really technical surfing, Paul. I mean, when you're able to do that in that kind of condition, it's great surfing. I mean, yesterday we had the pleasure of, you know, big turns in critical part of the wave. But here, you know, all you youngsters, you know, the upcoming surfer, you need to perform on all kind of waves, and these guys, they're showing, you know, how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive performances in terms of adapting to the conditions, what surfing's all about for anyone, particularly in the professional game. And yesterday, we were blessed with pretty pumping conditions, a real contrast today, and the surfers can't really let that kind of affect their mindset. They've got to still look for just opportunities of a different kind, basically, which seems to be what Gatien Delay is doing here, who, as you mentioned earlier on, he's got that kind of lightness. He's a tall guy, but he's pretty skinny. He's got that lightness, fleetness of foot, and he's going to need that, taking on Johan Duroux, who, again, is such a natural surfer. He always finds himself in the kind of juicy part of the wave, Johan. Very rarely one of those surfers that kind of outruns a section and has to go back. Johan always manages to seem to just thread the eye of the needle and find all of the energy. Ramzi with a little redirect and a look back on the beach. Possibly getting some instructions on positioning. Doesn't seem like too tricky a lineup to figure out.
No, and you see the clan with Alain Rioux, Fred Robin giving the last piece of advice.
Jasper Sanders, Kite Stevens there with the white hair.
Yeah. Yeah, all the surfing fans, the surfing caravan are here. But Gatien, yeah, is getting an eye on that heat. There's gonna be some few opportunities. You got to take them, and so far with 9 minutes remaining, it was an early lead from Ramzi, who did well. You know, we thought it was like nearly a warm-up wave for those 3 turns, but it turns out it could be a keeper for the Moroccan, as he's paddling on the, you know, dredgy little wave. That first turn was great. Oh, that's a nice wave for Tim Bisso.
Ooh. Big opportunity arch, massive turner hammer.
Yeah.
All right, we talked about it with Roman about one-turn maneuvers at the top of the program this morning. Let's see where this goes. Easily the best-looking opening section of a wave we've seen throughout the day today. That one's steep and vertical. Just the one turn before it ran away, hit it hard.
Oh yeah, he's pumped. You can see the way he's paddling. He's got that good turn in. He's got the fist pump. While Ramzi got that inside one. That was a pretty good turn, but he couldn't get that second re-entry, unfortunately for the Moroccan. But that wave was off size and just Bisso belted, really pushing hard on the back foot, taking risks like really vertical. So it'll be interesting to see the score, Paul.
Yeah, he just extended. He just waited a little to put his board extra vert. He just waited a little bit before he whipped the board around and put his board all the way to the fins, basically, at the top of the wave. Very impressive, and then able to just use those strong legs.
And you look at the score, Paul, that just came in, 6.67, so taking the lead, Team Bisso, with that last exchange.
Absolutely crucial. He's got himself 6 points with about 1.5 seconds of surfing, basically. He just stood up, bang, 6 points.
Yeah,
there you go.
Exactly, and that's, you know, it's gonna give a good indication also to the next heat. You gotta go big again, and yesterday was exactly the same scenario. Like judges were rewarding 7 and 8 with single maneuver, and they haven't changed this on that smaller day. It's a situation now of bother for Ramzi with 6 minutes. Little bit more than 6 minutes remaining. His requirement is a 5.68. So obviously, Paul, now he needs to be patient and find the same kind of gems than Team Bisso did.
Priority, didn't he, for that set? He used it on the first wave, and his turn, it was more of a redirect, and then the next one just drained. We couldn't really see that coming. I mean, I think he was justified in taking the first wave, because out of nowhere, that wave just stood up on the bank that Tim got and offered up a real throaty section. Let's hope for a few more like that. Ramzi with priority might want to use it here.
Yeah, and Team Bisso is going to paddle and probably Ramzi looked at blocking him, but it's another good-looking wave. I mean, getting those turns in, he's probably going to increase his backup and increase the requirement from for Ramzi.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does.
He was sitting on the 4.17, so not sure that's going to do it, but it's going to be close. But just a good management of that heat for Team Bisso. But as usual in the beach break, there's the luck factor coming into play. And as you said, Paul, that first wave, anyone would have gone with Ramzi, and unfortunately for the Moroccan, that set wave was biggest wave of the heat, just came out of the blue.
Bisso putting everything into this one again. So not having priority, a smart call just to take it. Meanwhile, Ramzi now, wow, that was a nice turn. And then he'll have to just sort of restart the wave a little bit again as it goes a little sluggish, but a really strong finish. And I love this heat now. Bringing the fire. We've got all sorts of chest beating going on. And no one wants to relinquish an opportunity to get in the final and then get the win. That's fired up the crowd too. And it's with the judges now, Arch.
Yeah, it's those 5 judges will have their work cut out with the last exchange. Big first turn for Ramzi. Again, just, you know, great, excellent work to get into that final section, and that pump, double pump. I mean, that's firing the beach, it's firing the tower, and it's firing the booth. I mean, it's good to see those guys answering back. It's you know, giving up. You know, that's the fighting spirit, a bit of a, you know, warriorship.
Yeah, in a way, it might be sort of recency bias. You'd almost love to see those the other way around, with the bigger turn coming at the end. I don't know if the judges play into that as much as we do, but when you finish super strong, the first turn felt a bit crisper.
Yeah.
A little softer the second section. It was a nice maneuver that he did, but the wave just lacked a tiny bit of power. Let's see where this goes score-wise. It's going to be really crucial.
Yeah, so it's a last wave for Team Bisso. It's increasing his backup. So he's sitting now on that 6.67 and a 4.6, and we're waiting on Ramzi. The requirement from Rams is 6.11. So he's turning, he's looking, he's anxious because you know that's good. You know, you could tell, you know, by the the body language that he's pretty happy with that last score.
Well, you
from
couldn't tell if he's happy or angry, actually. They look quite angry, but it's a happy anger. It's gone into the lead. It's not a big one. And what an entertaining heat this is now. Final couple of minutes have been electrifying. Ever since Bisso smashed out that 6. Here he goes again on the front foot. Bang. With speed. Couple of turns. Won't get a third one. That'll leave Ramzi with the lead and priority in the lineup. 5.07 the requirement for Bisso. Our first order of business for the judges. Was that worth a 5 arch?
No, they be comparing with just that 4.6 they just gave him, you know, a couple of minutes ago. I'd like to see that replay because, you know, he really put everything on the board, just powering surfing as usual from Team Bisso, but maybe a little bit of a, you know, drag on the rail. So we'll see. The 5 judges, they'll definitely be taking the time. It's just going to be maybe a little bit short there for Team Bisso. If we could have found a third one, could have been the score, but... So he just got a 4.77, so it's not enough for Team Bisso. Ramzi is still in the lead, and with that all precious priority, looking at his watch, it's looking good for the Moroccan so far, but there's been a flurry of wave, Paul, in the last couple of minutes.
It's been really entertaining this last 5. Look at those scores, how close they are. So the highest individual score with Tim, but the backup, crucially, from Ramzi is higher, and Tim is still sitting on a 4.77. That's what's costing him 90 on the clock priority with Ramzi. Tim Bisso needs a multiple wave set. He needs Ramzi to go on the first one and something behind, or he needs to take something that Ramzi will let him go on, and then may be able to find some points. Let's see. Looks like we've got a set here. Could this be the turning point from Tim's point of view, or the place where Ramzi can seal it? The wave stood up on the outside bank here, and Ramzi will use it here. So here he goes. A little crease to this wave, not loads of potential. All right, something of an opportunity now for Bisso. 50 on the clock, and the next wave is crucial. Let's just remind ourselves the number, 5.07 is all he needs. It's not a huge number, but when you're in these kind of conditions with not a lot of time on the clock,
both 5-star with the fighting spirit. We like that, Paul, because they never gave up. Ramzi, when Team Bisso got that 6.67, he was in a place of bother, but what an answer. And then Tim got an opportunity to take back the lead in a matter of, you know, a few minutes. So they're not giving up at all, but with that clock ticking away, Team Bisso is looking at that wave. I think there's not going to be anything. I see something turns around that not enough, Paul.
Yeah, and it's Ramzi, previous winner here in Anglet, who will be into the final. A really close heat, highly enjoyable. That could have gone either way, really, scores-wise. You got to say, if Tim had got the nod, you wouldn't really have said there's not too much in it. But Ramzi just managing to just stay in the heat in terms of gave up that lead to Tim. And he would have been a bit frustrated and just kept his head in the game and surfed himself back into the lead.
He tried everything on that last ride, but he knew that wasn't enough. He survived the heat yesterday against Marco Migno. He said it in the interview in the booth. He had a close heat, but this time he went his opponent way. Good win for Ramzi, good win for the points, good win for the confidence, and great surfing from the Moroccan. As you said, Paul, he won here before, and he's looking at ease in those small conditions that he knows perfectly.
Flying high in the challenges, as we mentioned, 6 on that tour. This competition will count towards qualifying for the challenges next year in 2023. Of course, if he gets on the CT, he won't need that. He won't need that spot. Plenty of surfing yet to come between now and then. Boukhiam will make his way back up. Quick debrief with his coach and start thinking about the final. Start thinking about who he's going to be surfing against. We're going to find out soon. It's going to be one of a new pairing of Johan Duru Couple of laps of the championship tour, taking on Gassi and Delahaye. That's going to come at you right after this quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more live action from finals day of the Rip Curl Pro Anglet.